Don't let your handwriting hold you back from visual note-taking. Business leaders, I'm talking to you. I'm going to take you through the 6 reasons you think your writing is too messy and 5 practices that you can do to help you get over it.
Hi, I'm Hayley, Chief Doodler at Thoughts Drawn Out. I'm all about getting creativity working so I can help you to make your mark.
Handwriting. It's the number one reason I hear from business leaders as to why they aren't actively using visual storytelling as a communication tool, particularly with their team members. Every business leader seems to believe that their handwriting is far too messy and that they're too far gone to do anything about it. It's just not true. And honestly, if you're not trying to get past this blocker so that you can build this skill, you're missing out. Visual storytelling is a key communication tool and you should be using it with your teams. So we're going to talk through now the 6 main reasons that I hear from leaders that they think their writing is just, past it, beyond it, irreparable. We're going to go through those 6 things, and then I'm also going to talk you through 5 practices that you can start doing so that you can build this skill. It's a muscle, it's a practice. Get in there, have a crack. You'll get over it, and you'll start reaping the benefits. So number 1, bit of an obvious one, rushing. You're just trying to go too fast, and there's a number of reasons for that. We'll get into it. Number 2, you have the being watched time pressure. Number 3, you are writing too much. You're trying to put too much detail down. Number 4, you're stuck in cursive land. You learned how to write one way and you haven't adjusted ever since. You're still using that one cursive style you learnt back in the day. Or you're rusty on the tools. You just don't do it often enough, so it feels clunky and it feels weird. And lastly, you're using the wrong materials. You're trying to put this skill into practice in a way that just doesn't feel good. So they're the 6. Let's go through them in more detail now. So I know I am going to be Captain Obvious here for a minute. Your handwriting is messy because you are rushing. So I'd like to challenge you here to just simply do the thing of slowing down. Because you rush at everything all the time. This is one little part of your day where you can actually enjoy this tactile experience. Be in the moment of enjoying putting pen to paper in a way that is helping you communicate with others. When you slow down, when you are present and mindful and enjoying the process, you can actually form each letter on your page. And when you do that a little slower and with a little care, then you'll find that it's not actually as messy as you thought. And you can just be being mindful in the moment, checking for your spacing, looking for where you have issues that you repeat. So if you constantly have a particular letter that you squish, or you run the ends of words together. If you're mindful and looking at this, then you can notice these things and then you can practice those little micro pieces without feeling like you have to do the whole thing. Now, an extension of this rushing, but I've put it as its own because it's just something that comes up so often, is you feel weird writing while being watched because it feels like it's taking a long time and you feel like everyone is feeling like you're so slow. I would just like to reassure you that this is not the case. Whoever is watching you is not feeling the passing of time in the same way that you are. They are actually probably enjoying the process of watching you draw. So just relax. Stop putting the pressure on yourself that you're time wasting. Give the content that you are writing the respect that it deserves. Form it properly on your page, and show some care for it. Now, a big one. I hear this often, and I see it often in when people are learning visual storytelling in particular, because they don't have enough trust in themselves to filter the content. So they're trying to capture everything. They're trying to write everything down. And honestly, visual storytelling or visual note-taking in this way, it's not best as a full transcription. The beauty of it is that you're listening, you're synthesizing, and then you're writing. And if you trust this process, trust your ability to use this process, some of the content is going to fall away. You're not going to retain it all in your brain. Some of it will go, and that's okay. You will retain the most important things. Trust yourself and stop trying to capture absolutely every word of it. You can synthesize. Now, if you've been stuck writing in a particular way for a long time, it's really hard to break the pattern, especially when you were taught rules about how to write things. So a lot of people that I speak to feel like it's rude to write in all capitals because it looks like you're shouting at your audience. But when it comes to visual storytelling, having what you write be legible is far more important than the correctness of how you approach it. So capitalize your letters if it makes you slow down and write them neater. Mix it up. Do some capital, some lowercase. Whatever you need to do to slow it down and form each letter properly, do it. If that means capitals, you're allowed. Being able to read it is the most important thing. Now, if you don't use your handwriting often, it's just going to feel clunky. It's going to feel rusty because you just don't have the familiarity of the practice as you do possibly with your fingers on your keyboard. So the more you do it, the more you put it into practice, the more comfortable you will become. And when you get comfortable, then more of it becomes autopilot mode. And that's when you start to use less cognitive load just on the writing part, and you'll find that more of your brain is now listening and synthesizing, and the writing has become more automatic. This is purely the product of repetition, so just keep at it. Lastly, find the right material combo for you, whether that's old school pen on paper or digital. You might want to use an Apple Pencil and an iPad and the Procreate app. You might want to use a Sharpie and A3 paper. Whatever the combo is, you have to find what feels good to you, because if the process feels good of moving that pen over the page, you're more likely to do it. And I would say keep it simple. Don't feel like you have to drag 48 different colors around with you at all times to be prepared to use drawing as a communication skill, because that's going to become a barrier all of its own. Keep it simple. Now, having been through all 6 of those big barriers, I want to take you through some really simple things that you can do to practice the art of handwriting so that you can start using it as a communication tool. Now, this does not have to be complicated. One of the things I see people do, kind of wonky lines of text or text that changes size or direction as you move across the page. And there's a very simple fix for this. You just need to pause every now and then, pull your vision further back from your page or your whiteboard or your tablet so that you can clearly see all 4 corners. This kind of recalibrates your eyes' ability to see level again, and then lean back in and keep going. And if you get in the practice of leaning in, leaning out, leaning in, leaning out, you will find that you get some better spatial awareness of that page. Similarly, with the wonky writing, calibrate the size of that combo. It's kind of what I was talking about before with getting the materials right. There's the feel of it, but there's also just getting the scale right. As you can see here, a tiny little pen on a big page doesn't work. It gets lost. A big fat pen loses clarity. Find the right combo. Get the scale right. Practice making micro adjustments along the way. This is one I do all the time because I am terrible at starting to write across the page and then my writing just drops off down towards the right. But if I practice making my letters go up and down ever so slightly as I go, I make those micro adjustments along the way, and by the time you get to the end of the line, it looks flat. Remember, it's okay to have some fun with it. This is communication. We're not talking about art. You don't have to put something in the Louvre at the end. Whatever's going to make it work. Make your words into pictures. Draw them in a fun, crazy bubble font. Stack them on top of each other. Take the need for perfection away and just get back to the fact that you are making marks for the purpose of communication and that fun is perfectly fine. Now, this same message that I'm giving you now for handwriting applies to your pictures as well. I know that's not the focus of this particular video, but the same thing applies. If you're using this as a communication tool with other people, they have a bias for your page to work. We can't help it as humans. We are pattern creators and pattern finders, and we want the pattern to work. So when we're watching you write something, we're there with you. We're in your corner. So it's not really about whether we're not judging your drawing or your writing. We want it to work. So just let that hang up go and focus in on what's really important here. This is about listening. It's about connecting, and it's about making meaning together. And if you make that your driving force, the need for perfection will fall away. As I say, this is not art. This is communication. This is human to human connection. Now, I hope you have found these tips helpful. I think the biggest thing is you just need to get in there and have a crack. Just give it a go, because the more you do it, the easier it gets. And the more you do it and you get results from it, it will reinforce the behavior. And plus, the more you experiment and try different things, you'll work out things that work for you and things that don't work for you. You're not going to nail this first go. Promise, you won't. It's just not how it works. But that's okay, because every time you have a crack, you're going to learn something new. And the fun thing is you're using the creative part of your brain when you do this. So it's just going to change the way you're thinking about the content as well. When you pick up a pen and put it to paper and you commit to writing and drawing, it's a different part of the brain. You may just find you even increase your ability to solve problems. So I hope you enjoyed these tips. If you did, please give the video a like and hit subscribe. I'll see you next time with some more visual storytelling tips.